portfolio, since this semester in English was more like a bag of cookies. Some cookies were easier to eat than others, but all were good in their own way. Some cookies were overbaked like cookies called essay formatting or interpret this. Others still needed some time in the oven like grammar, tie this back to thesis, and thorough support. The types of cookies have not truly changed over the years in English classes. However, the recipes of certain cookies have changed just this semester alone. A recipe can only be improved after all. The first installment of my portfolio is called Snickerdoodle Poem. Like its cookie, the topic of the essay seemed plain and simplistic since the topic was analyzed 99 Things to Do Before You Die by Neela Northstein. It almost depressed me. Analyze a poem. However, like a snickerdoodle, there was something special and pleasing to this essay. There was more to the poem than simply giving a speaker's opinion. There's more than sugar and cinnamon in a snickerdoodle. Even though a major component of the poem is the blunt meaning, there is also an underlying message that adds more to the poem's flavor. This was the first time I made snickerdoodle, so the recipe came from complete scratch. By making this type of cookie, though, I learned to appreciate poems more and to analyze for more than just the obvious. It took me time to get this recipe right. I kept adding too much sugar with all my overstatements and generalizations in my first draft. No one would have been able to taste the cinnamon in it, and it would have made my paper just a plain sugar cookie. I managed, however, to add more spice and flavoring so that my essay would not be so dry. I managed this by adding more evidence. One does not need to do anything for my first essay, but then again, there are apparently 99 things to do before dying. The second essay in my portfolio is dubbed No Bake Comparison in favor of the No Bake Cookies. This essay deals with comparing two short stories that contain a lot of common themes. Like its counterpart Cookie, the two stories are very easy to compare due to their obvious similarity. Instead of working out like a complex interpretation story, these stories actually manage to be blunt in their meanings without being over-simplistic, and No Bake Cookie is very similar in this regard. It is simple to make and understand, but the flavor of the cookie is just as wonderful as other more complex cookies. This was also the first time making this particular cookie. It was very sloppy at the beginning because the lack of traditional oven was confusing. This paper was not on what the author was writing about or how I felt about the topic. It was about how two different short stories were similar. However, I learned to see connections between the tales better through this essay. These stories showed me how people can go through similar experiences in different times and locations, and that there really is two sides to every tale. Peanut butter cookies are the next stop. I like baking cookies, but peanut butter cookies I always need to make twice. I never get the cookies just right the first time around. They're either too dry or too small. I must go back and add more milk or something else. That is why my exhibit of revision process is called Peanut Butter Mix-Up. In this section, I talk about how even though I may know the plan of an essay, the final product always needs to be touched up, especially the introduction. It is not that I have not learned how to do it right the first time around, but like my peanut butter cookies, something just needs to be added. I do not know what I truly end up with until it's out of the oven and ready to taste. From there, I can make revisions. The original recipe of my peanut butter cookies has not changed much this semester, but I am more prepared to know what is missing from the cookies than I once was. Before, all I truly had was milk to pour into the mixture. Milk only makes the cookie easier to eat. It does not actually improve the taste of the cookie. Now, though, I am more capable of spotting my errors in my paper, and instead of simply deleting the problem, I can fix it. Deleting is just another form of milk. By fixing the problem, I can improve and support my essay better. On the subject of milk, some cookies go great with milk. Sometimes, however, the cookie is too big to dunk whole. Like a peer review, I would have to take apart the cookie just to be able to eat it. Peer reviewing an essay is probably the biggest cookie out there, thus why the section is called The Biggest Cookie. It is such a big cookie because there is so much demanded from it. A good peer review must look over everything from missing commas and incorrect words to conflicting sentences and coherence. When doing a review, I have to take my time taking apart an essay. It is easier to digest and see where the author needs the most help this way. By taking my time to break up my big cookie, I can enjoy and unlearn from the author's mistakes. I can see where I could go wrong and try to avoid it. The last cookie in my portfolio is a chocolate chip cookie. Simple as it is, a chocolate chip cookie is my wild card, or rather an ode to a chocolate chip cookie is. Being that chocolate chip was the first cookie I ever remember eating, and the first cookie I learned how to make, it holds a special place in my heart. It is the only cookie I know deserving of a true ode, so I will let the ode speak for itself. So once again, I welcome one and all to my cookie factory. I hope there is a glass of milk on hand and a hungry appetite to be quenched. They may be necessary to see the way my cookie recipes have changed over the last few months. Bon appetit!